Hi everyone, Lynn here, and today I thought I would show you how I made the burlap flowers on this wire heart wreath that I made for as part of a project for Flying Unicorn November kits. So let me put this aside and I'll show you exactly what I did. Alright, now what I did is I used burlap ribbon. Now I actually got this idea from a YouTube video that I watched with Tiffany Windsor, and it's called Cool2Craft, and I will put a link down below. She used burlap fabric, but I'm using ribbon because at the time I didn't have any fabric, so it was just easier for me to use what I had instead of having to go out and buy something else. And I'll show you a couple flowers I just made. Okay, this is one of the large ones, and it was made with this one. And I also made a little bud, and it's really not that little. I mean, this is not something you'd want to use on the scrapbook page, but it certainly would be great to use on home decor pieces, Christmas trees, whatever you like. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside and we'll go through the ribbons. The width of your ribbons is important. You don't want to use something too small like this. This is 2.5 inches wide. I mean, I guess you could, but you're going to wind up with a very narrow flower. So what I have here is 3 different burlaps. These two here, these two are from Michaels. I really like this one here. This one's got a softer hand to it and it's thinner. I've used this one on a couple different projects already. Really nice. Obviously the purple flower I just made was made with this one here, and it is Ashland brand, but it is Michaels as well. I really like that color, that's why I picked that up. And today we're going to use this one here, and I bought this one here at Joann's, and it actually came on this cool wooden spool, which I really liked, and that was the main reason I bought it. However, I did make sure that I had a coupon because it was not cheap. Okay, so this particular ribbon it's roughly 4 inches wide, and I wouldn't go any smaller than that. And I know this one does have a pattern, so it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is cut yourself a length, roughly, I would say for the large bloom, you don't want to go any smaller than 22 inches. And I'm going to go roughly about 25, 26 inches today. Okay, now this, and I didn't cut straight, but that's okay, we can fix that too. Now this ribbon is wired and we don't need the wires, so I'm going to get rid of it. Just push your fabric back and you can grab the wire either with your fingers or with pliers. And don't throw that wire away, you can always use it for something. Sorry if I get out of frame, I have a new camera set up and I'm still trying to get used to it. I'm still trying to show products upside down and everything. Okay, so here is our piece of burlap ribbon. Now the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the weave, and it might be easier for you to look at it this way here. Most of these ribbons aren't straight, so you want to follow your threads across and see about where they're going to land. So if I were to pull like the second or third one from this edge, if I were to pull the second or third, sorry, I was off frame, the second or third one here from this edge, by the time I got down here, I would be right there. So that doesn't work. So I need to find the edge where it's closest, and then it goes out wider going this way, and pick a thread there. And in this particular one here, I'm going to pick roughly about the second or third thread. And if it makes it easier for you to grab it, just snip into the fabric so that you can get a hold of the thread. You don't want to go too deep on this here. You need a little bit of an edge, but not so deep that you're going to be using your entire, you're going to be limiting how much you have right there. So once you've got that thread, just go ahead and pull it through, kind of like you're pulling through a basting stitch, how you're gathering. Now you'll find a lot of these ribbons aren't even. This one's here's, yeah, it's not even, because it's almost on the end right there, and almost on the end right there, and almost on the end, actually about a quarter of an inch in this way. So now I'm going to turn it around and look at the other side and see, and again I'm going to do it from this side. And I mean, you do want to leave yourself roughly about a quarter of an inch or so. Okay, I'm fighting with the thread here. It does help to have a little bit of a loose end. I'm going to grab it with my pliers. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, and once again, go ahead and pull. Oh, I just broke it. Okay, I pulled too hard and broke the thread. Or it's glued somehow. That's very possible. This is actually, I've made quite a few of these flowers, and this is the first time I've ever had that happen. It could be because of the paint. From the printing on the front of it. Okay, let's get that out of the way. So you can see here where I've pulled my thread, and on this side the space is a little bit wider. Now you can go ahead and trim that off. Because the space isn't that wide, I'm not going to bother. Okay, but that's one of the reasons why you want to do that. So then the next step is to glue. And you can see my ends aren't straight on over there, so I'm going to turn it around and go over here. And I'm going to use hot glue today, but you can use tacky glue or like Fabri-Tac. Just make sure that you put your glue on that side of the row of threads that you just pulled out. If you do use hot glue, be careful because it goes easily through burlap. I burnt myself the first time I did this. Alright. Whoops, the worst part is getting it started. Once you got it going, it's nice and easy. So now, the next step we're going to do is to remove all the threads from where you started pulling your thread, where you actually pulled out your thread, and go all the way around to that next spot where we took that out. So let me see here. I need an edge where, I think this side here. Easier if you have a few threads that are pulled out that run the other direction. Just grab it, and again, like you're tightening up a basting stitch, I guess. Just very gently go and pull the thread out. Okay, and you're going to do this, like I said, all the way around. I'm going to do that one more time for you. And then I'm going to turn the camera off and come back. And show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm back. So I have one more thread to pull. So let's do that. One of the things that I forgot to mention was that you don't want to try and pull more than one thread at a time. They will break. And I've noticed that with this particular, Here's my pile of extra. I'm just going to move that aside so you can see what I'm doing. This particular ribbon, it has come undone from the sewing, so I can glue those back in place. I'm not overly worried about it. Okay, so there's your strip. This is what it's going to look like. All your threads are pulled out. So you have this big long strip of just folded over threads. Okay, so I'm going to take it lengthwise here, and I'm just going to start at one end, and I'm going to cut these little threads off here that are dangling off the end. I don't need those. And I'm going to start gluing. Now the first piece that you glue, just glue a little bit if you're using hot glue, because it's very difficult to grab this stuff here. And usually I like using my pliers or my scissors, the ends of them, to just push it in place. Once you've got a little bit done, it makes it easier. So again, I'm going to put just a little bit of glue and start rolling. And you want to try and roll so that you're keeping the edge even this side. Yeah, I think we're just going to cut the rest of it off. Move that out of the way. So if you're using the wider ribbon, then go ahead and use 26 inches. Otherwise, 22 I think would be sufficient. Okay. All right. So there you have it. There's your flower. And if your burlap is stiff at all, just turn it upside down and just push on it, and it will kind of move itself in the direction it should go. That's how you do that. Now to make the bud, I did the same exact thing, with the only difference being that I only used 12 inches of the ribbon, and obviously I didn't flatten it out. I kept it closed up. Okay, so that's the flowers. Not very hard to do, a little bit of work, but not so bad. Here you can really see the difference on the sizes. And one of the things that you can do, and I did, is obviously you can glue something in the center if you want. I have a few different things here. This is a flying unicorn metal adornment that I had previously painted for something else. That would look pretty in there. You could throw something else on top of it if you wanted. I mean, obviously that's not the right thing. Another flower. You can use just a flower. You can use a large button. Prima junkyard metal findings, a cameo, whatever you want, or you can leave it as is, just keep your center fluffed up. It's up to you. Okay, I'm back. After I got done making the flowers, I started thinking that there's got to be a way to make leaves for my burlap flowers. So I played around with it and I got a leaf done, so let me show you. Pretty cool, huh? No sewing involved. All gluing and manipulating the fabric. That's all it is. So let me show you. I have two wired burlap ribbons here. One is the white, or ivory, I guess, and one is the natural. I'm going to go with the natural. And I'm going to cut myself, roughly about 12, 13 inches. Put that aside. Now this is a wired ribbon, so we do want to make sure that we remove one of the ribbons. We only need one to do this. So pull your fabric back and then pull out your wire. Alright, now on the other side, again, you do want to pull your wire, but you don't want to pull it all the way out. You only want to gather back about a ½ inch. Don't pull, because you'll pull it from the other end, and you need it on the other end as well. Okay, and just hold it back so that it's not going anywhere. So now go ahead and look at your ribbon, decide which side you want to use as your front, and whatever is your front, fold that together so your fronts are facing. Okay, fold it in half. Now with your pliers or just with your fingers, grab onto your wire, okay, and just start gathering. You're just pulling the burlap ribbon back, and you want to pull it to roughly half of the folded length. So since we started with 12 inches, folded in half is 6, so I want to have roughly about 3 inches gathered. That looks about right, maybe a little bit more. And once you're happy with the length, just go ahead and give a twist to your wire, okay? And I think I might have done a little bit more, a little bit less than 3 inches. Alright, so go ahead and just make sure it's folded together. Now if it really bothers you, you can glue this together, but I don't think you need it, okay? And turn it over and push your fabric back while you're still holding on to where you gathered your fabric, okay? And you can push it onto itself in the middle. Alright, at the end, we're going to take this side here, the edge, and we're going to fold it over a little bit, like let's say about ½ an inch, and we're going to fold that into the middle, and we're going to glue there. And don't use your fingers to push that down, unless you have Teflon fingers, because it will hurt. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and just glue right into the middle. And just hold it for a second. Alright, cut off your wires, trim off your end, and there you have it, a burlap leaf to go with your burlap flower. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.